Good afternoon. I hope everyone's enjoying this brisker half of the fall season. With this passage of time, we've been clamoring for more news on the Switch 2 as Nintendo winds down its releases for the Switch 1 proper. Plenty of games are still releasing on the system, but when it comes to the big hitters, we really only have about 2 or 3 games on the way, like Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA. Both games previously thought to be Switch 2 launch year titles, now confirmed to not be. However, Nintendo has finally given us an official, formal announcement about the Switch 2. Or, I guess I shouldn't say formal, it's actually rather an informal announcement, but it's official nonetheless, and it's great news nonetheless as well. In what seems to be the typical new fashion for Nintendo regarding Switch 2 announcements, they've once again casually dropped a huge bombshell on us via a simple tweet on Twitter. The tweet reads, "This is Furukawa. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date." Now, this announcement is extremely enlightening for several reasons, so I want to break it down and expose the significance of each statement and specifically how they relate to credible leaks we've discussed on this channel in the past. If you've kept up with my videos, you know that we already knew the Switch 2 would be backwards compatible with Switch 1 thanks to leakers, but it's great to finally have official word from Nintendo to confirm that we weren't being misled. The way this backwards compatibility works will actually be quite advanced. We know from leaks that it will enhance Switch 1 games to look and play better than they did on Switch 1. Nintendo's closing statements in the official tweet that say they're going to give us more in-depth info on how backwards compatibility works kind of soft confirms this other half of the leaked info. In other words, the only reason Nintendo would have to dive deeper into their new system being backwards compatible is if there's more to it than it simply being backwards compatible. Otherwise, there would be nothing more to explain or clarify. Yes, when we hear from them again on this matter, they will definitely be showing us how the Switch 2 enhances Switch 1 games. This also gives more emphasis on those heavy hitter games I talked about that are coming next year for Switch 1, being Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA, and I think there's a few others, but I can't remember them off the top of my head right now. Now, I can guarantee these games in particular are being crafted with the Switch 2's enhancement hardware in mind. So, if we don't see a dual system release of those games, then we will see them used as prime examples for how good the enhancements on Switch 2 can look and feel. They'll be poster childs of sorts for the feature, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Insider leaks, especially recent ones from investor calls, confirmed that Switch 2 will release in 2025, which is why a lot of us were confused about Nintendo bothering with making Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA Switch 1 exclusives, but it makes a lot more sense to have them represent so much more than just being closing titles for Switch 1. Not only will they live on thanks to backwards compatibility, but they'll be more relevant than ever as the faces of the Switch 2 enhancement capabilities. This is all amazing news, and I for one am super excited to see this sort of hardware for the first time from Nintendo, but I do also want to talk about the other aspect of the official Switch 2 announcement. We shouldn't forget that Nintendo also said Nintendo Switch Online will be on Switch 2, indicating that the service will remain not only the same, which is a great value by the way, but will be subject to further enhancements and expansions. This means when the Switch 2 comes out, the NSO can finally add consoles like the Nintendo GameCube, and possibly even the Nintendo DS. Thanks to the way Joy-Cons work, I believe we might even see Nintendo Wii games come to the Switch 2 one day. With the way Nintendo refuses to port The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD to the Switch, these virtual console expansions could be how we get to play those games again on modern hardware, but time will tell. Since I think we'll definitely be getting Nintendo GameCube, I'm definitely excited and confident we might see some fan favorite games like Pokemon Colosseum come as well. I'd replay the hell out of that. And on Nintendo Wii, if they port the Poke Park games, dang, I would be such a happy boy. If you guys have any more old games that you can think of that you would love to see on these virtual consoles, please comment them down below because I could really use the nostalgia and we can just fanboy over it. One of the best parts about the NSO staying around for Switch 2 though, is that we won't lose our save data from our current virtual consoles. An example of this is that I've mostly been playing the Nintendo 64 expansion on Switch, and they've even released Banjo-Tooie for it just last week, and that's one of my favorite games of all time. Same with Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and so many others. I was making these my definitive files for the games in years, since I haven't been able to play them really since their original console releases. On Switch, they run buttery smooth and are upscaled to perfection, so I didn't want to lose that, and it's amazingly reassuring to know I won't be. I really did have a fear that NSO is going to be discontinued after the Switch passed its lifespan, especially since leakers didn't really talk about the NSO, but boy do I feel a huge wave of relief now. Does anyone else feel this way? Regardless, Nintendo's casual, nonchalant announcements on Switch 2 are kind of funny, but I'm so ready for some real news with tangible visuals next year instead of just some nonchalant tweets. And next year is coming up quickly, so at least we have things to look forward to. So comment what you think about the Switch 2 revelations, and afterwards, if you're like me and super excited for Pokemon Legends ZA especially, I have a lot of videos for you to catch up on if you haven't already. Like this one here where I discuss some of the non-spoilery leaks for the game. So feel free to click on that and watch all of my videos on it if you want. I've been johtojonny, and I'll catch you all there.